I'm going to give you a real live living example of the problem that we have in our healthcare system. Now, even though Obamacare is being implemented and it will allow for millions of people to get healthcare that they desperately need to be an American, because I think healthcare is a fundamental right. Healthcare in this country just costs too goddamn much. Let's just be honest, right? It cost $546 for 6 liters of salt water, or what we would call saline, or your tears. Right now, to make it, now let's just be very clear. To make this little thing, the little baggie that you have, it's about 44 cents to $1. That's how much the factory pays to make it. But when you break it down, and this bill is pretty insane. They took a bill from the state of New York and they broke it down for you, right? To get the IV therapy, it costs $393. And then you get IV therapy again. And so you have to pay the nurse, you got to pay the doctor, you got to pay the pharmacist, you got to pay the person that checks to make sure that the bag is working right, you got to pay the person that makes the needle. And by the time you pay everybody, it's about $787 for an adult, $339 for a kid, and $546 for saline, plus the $127 administrative fee for the back of the office that bill you for the saline. Why we have a healthcare problem in this country is because there's too many middlemen between you and your doctor. Now, while Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act is a step in the right direction, saying that everybody gets healthcare, it still forces you to get healthcare through the private market. The private market is where the problem is. See, that's the cancer and the big elephant in the room. The reason why healthcare is so expensive is because after you can't just go to the doctor and give the doctor $5 and be like, thank you for the service. It has to go through billing and coding, and then it goes to somebody else, and then it gets, for me, for example, after I see my doctor here in the District of Columbia or Virginia, then it goes to Kentucky, and they process it, and then they send it back. And so by the time they send it back to all these places, what would have cost me, $100 has now cost me $5,000. The problem that we have is that we've used everybody, it's an add-on thing, right? It's one of those things where everybody's adding on to the price of getting healthcare. And if we had a single payer system where there was one person paying in and a centralized processing place, we wouldn't have this problem because there'd be one payer and the one payer would set the market price. But that doesn't happen, you see, because insurance set one price, the doctor sets another price, depending upon your insurance company, there could be a third price. If it's Medicare, there's a fourth price. If it's Medicaid, there's a fifth price. You understand the problem that we have here. There's, like my mother would say growing up, there's too many chefs in the kitchen. Why we have a healthcare crisis in this country. And while Obamacare is the step in the right direction, I'll tell you this much, we're going to have to revisit healthcare in about another 10 years because we're going to find that in the Obamacare system, as great as it is, there's going to be an explosion of price. And there's going to be too much pricing, and that's going to it's just going to cost too much. And why we need a single payer. We should have got a single payer the first time, but I digress. We'll take Obamacare. It's good stuff.